300,000 years ago, the Earth was a crowded place. At least 9 distinct human species lived in parallel. Beside our own ancestors, there were the long-lived Homo erectus in Asia, the cave-dwelling Homo naledi in South Africa, the mysterious Homo luzonensis in the Philippines, and even unnamed ghost lineages found only in our DNA. In Europe, the Neanderthals reigned as the apex cold-weather species. They were built with stocky frames and broad torsos, specifically to conserve heat during the most brutal phases of the ice ages. High in the mountains of Asia, the Denisovans adapted to life at the edge of the world, thriving in the freezing, thin air of the Tibetan Plateau. Near the equator, on the island of Flores, a population of tiny humans nicknamed hobbits survived for hundreds of thousands of years by hunting pygmy elephants in the dense tropical forests. For most of our history, humanity was a tangled bush of varied lineages. Today, that bush has been pruned down to a single stem. Curious, slightly hushed tone. How did a planet teeming with this much diversity become the exclusive domain of just one species? Extinction is often a consequence of being too good at surviving in one specific place. Success becomes a trap when the environment starts to move. Homo erectus dominated open woodlands for nearly 2 million years. They were masters of the savanna, utilizing fire and stone tools that remained effective for eons. But around 120,000 years ago, the savanna on Java disappeared. Along the Solo River, the open country was replaced by dense, impenetrable rainforest. The specialized tools and hunting strategies that served Erectus for millions of years failed in the thick brush. Geography created even more extreme limitations for island populations. Inside Liang Bua Cave on the island of Flores, archaeologists found a species that had adapted to the ultimate constraint: isolation. This graphic shows the result of island dwarfism. Homo floresiensis stood only 1 meter tall. In an environment with limited food, smaller bodies were an advantage because they required significantly less energy to maintain. These species were perfectly calibrated for their world, but that calibration left them with no room to maneuver when their habitats shifted. The Neanderthals faced a very different pressure. Between 50,000 and 40,000 years ago, Europe was struck by rapid, violent shifts between warm phases and freezing glaciation. These cycles shattered the landscape. The massive herds of reindeer and bison shifted their migration routes, leaving Neanderthal groups isolated in a resource-poor tundra. As these habitats contracted, our ancestors arrived from Africa. Homo sapiens brought a different toolkit: flexible technologies and social trade networks that allowed us to move resources across thousands of miles. While popular stories imagine a violent conquest, the evidence points to a demographic struggle. Our ancestors were simply more efficient at gathering seasonal resources, leaving the Neanderthals with a shrinking share of the world. By 39,000 years ago, the Neanderthals were pushed into isolated coastal refuges like the Rock of Gibraltar. Fragmented and outnumbered, their populations finally reached a demographic dead end. Genetic analysis has revealed a history of contact that stone tools alone could not show. The other human species were not simply erased, they were assimilated. As the expanding population of Homo sapiens moved into new territories, they encountered the dwindling, fragmented groups of Neanderthals and Denisovans. This graphic illustrates demographic swamping. When a massive population interbreeds with a tiny, isolated one, the smaller group's genetic signature is swamped. Over several generations, they cease to exist as a distinct group. This legacy is present in our cells today. Non-African populations carry between 1 and 4% Neanderthal DNA, while people in Melanesia and Australia carry significant genetic traces of the Denisovans. These species persist as biological archives, integrated into the human family tree rather than being removed from it. We survived not because we were the strongest or because we possessed the largest brains. Our ancestors possessed a unique cognitive flexibility. They invented new technologies, formed global trade alliances, and adapted their survival strategies to every biome on the planet. This survival cost the planet an immense range of human diversity. We lost unique cognitive styles, varied cultures, and entire ways of perceiving the world. In many ways, modern humanity is a genetically impoverished species, descended from a tiny founding population that represents only a fraction of the diversity of the ancient world. We only managed to thrive in certain environments because of the genes we inherited from the species that disappeared. Those ancestors granted us the immune defenses and altitude adaptations that allow us to live where we do today. We are the last branch of a family tree once thick with possibilities. Today we are alone, and our future rests entirely in our hands.